Do it. And, all right, it says we are live. Okay, looks like we are. Hey everybody, this is our 8th live stream on SPOCRA, and today we have some special guests. We have with us Alfred Moesker and Michael Nardi. So
Yeah.
Alfred, I'll let him introduce himself, but before we do that, I'm going to go over a quick agenda so everyone knows what we'll be talking about today. All right. So today's live stream is with the owner and creator of Cardano Hotel. So he's going to go over his Cardano story. He's going to talk about the boutique hotel and his stake pool. And then we're also going to go into real world business and stake pool intersection. So with more talk about running the hotel business and then the journey that went along with how he got to where he's at now. And then also he's got some other projects and opportunities that he's running. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then Michael Nardi is new to the Cardano ecosystem. He's learning. He has similar aspirations to what Alfred's already doing. So we're going to talk about that as well. And with that, I will turn it over to Alfred. So Alfred, if you could tell us more about yourself and then also your Cardano story.
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Alfred Moesker. I'm originally from the Netherlands, but I operate a tourist hotel in Barcelona called Hotel Ginebra. And as far as the Cardano story is concerned, back in 2017, perhaps what happened to most people, we get introduced to Cardano through Bitcoin. In 2017, we were on our way to Japan. We already had our suitcases packed when I got a call from a friend of mine in Brazil, one of my best friends, who was always trying to convince me to invest money in Brazil because he wants us to go and live in Brazil. And he said, "Oh, you have to go and look at Bitcoin because it's going up." And I said, what are you talking about? What's Bitcoin? No idea. So he said, you have to buy Bitcoin because if you buy it now, then it'll be a great investment. And then you can finally come and join me and come and live in Brazil. So we did. We basically bought Bitcoin sitting on our suitcases. And then while we're in Japan, as a matter of fact, Bitcoin went up quite considerably. So we were looking at it, we were like, oh, wow, well, what's going on here? So we came back and we spoke about it. He sort of explained what the story behind Bitcoin, what it was. I had some questions, and one of them he replied, well, Bitcoin doesn't do that, but then there's altcoins. So I went like, what? what might those be? And we started talking about altcoins, and this was the time of the ICOs. Sorry for the voice. This was the ICO time of 2017. And there was all these very interesting projects going on. So we started investigating, and it was like a window on a new world, like learning about all this new stuff. And then at some point, I found a little one-page article about this project called Cardano. And there were two people on the blog article. There was one guy called Charles. He was sitting in a chair, and there was a guy standing next to him called Jeremy. And they looked well, a bit nerdy almost, like very serious types. And the story behind it was contrary to many, excuse me, to many of the other projects who were making all kinds of claims and wild claims, whatever. They were saying, well, we're going to construct a project, we're going to work with many universities, and we're going to take it slow and easy. We want to do things scientifically. And well, I liked it. I thought to myself, that's my guy. So we spoke to my friend in Brazil about ADA, blah, blah. And he said, well, there's many businesses in the world that accept Bitcoin, but to my knowledge, there's no business that accept ADA. And he says, why don't you accept ADA? So I thought, well, why not? So we did. We then sent a tweet or an email to IOHK. They reacted. And it just so happened that just by chance, or maybe there's no chance in the world, I don't know. It just so happened that they had somebody in Barcelona. So this person came here, they did an interview with us. And so we confirmed that the story was true and we wanted to accept ADA, blah, blah. We actually made this person pay with ADA, which was kind of cool, we downloaded the wallet and we did the whole thing. And then consequently, IOHK made a blog on their website. So if you can Google it, you can Google IOHK, Hotel Ginebra, Barcelona. And then Charles heard about it and he invited us to come to Lisbon because this was in January 2018. And it so happened there was a workshop in Lisbon because obviously everybody works all over the world. And it so happened that they had one then. And well, Lisbon is 2 hours away from Barcelona. So they said, why don't you come over? So we did. And we met Charles, we had dinner with him. And well, and that's basically how the whole thing started to roll.
Awesome. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. When you were first introduced to Bitcoin, like, how was that experience? Was it just like, okay, so what do I do like with this private key, or like what was your experience with that?
I find it all very, very confusing. But I mean, now 3 years later, or maybe 4 years later, now things are very smooth. I mean, it's very easy, especially if you're not technologically inclined like I am. I come from a different world, so to be able to have to struggle with things like my ETH wallet, I can't remember all the terminology, but I remember trying to send Bitcoin from A to B, and at some point it was getting stuck for like 3 days. So that wasn't so great. But I understood that it was all part of this new technology, that it was like all in the new development, and as you learn, you go along, you go along, and you learn and struggle. But all the more interesting to find out that there was a project called Cardano, which was aiming to solve all these silly little things, So that's why really I put all my weight behind Cardano and thought, well, if anybody's going to solve it, then maybe these guys are, So that's sort of what happened.
It's a testament to your generation that being from, like you said, another time, and the fact that you were willing to take on this new endeavor and put yourself in a place where you are forcing yourself to evolve is unbelievable. And you have proven that it can be done, that we need to evolve with our ecosystem, that we need to evolve with the world because it's moving so fast, and that if you can do it, anybody could.
100%.
So, thank you.
And one of the reasons that, I mean, I had similar sentiments and experience with finding Cardano as well, but I would say one of the biggest things that drew me in is because I really want to understand what I'm doing, and this was the only community where I can actually like dig in and actually play with the command line interface and understand like what I'm doing, like setting up a stake pool and like how does that actually affect what's going on the blockchain, and like it's way more approachable than a lot of the other ecosystems that are out there, and like coming from like the perspective of we want to change the world is like we literally get to impact what happens. So that's what really drew me into Cardano.
I think maybe you still don't realize where I came from, because you're saying, hey, it's so great, I can do anything on my command line interface. When I read the words command line interface, I was like, help me, please.
For sure.
It took me like days to get my head around the concept. But anyway, here we are. So.
That's actually amazing. I think it's funny because I think a lot of us were just uncontrollably drawn to the idea and what Cardano is doing. And it's really interesting. When I went to the Cardano Summit and, we're standing around all these people and everybody's telling their story and they're sharing the idea and they're sharing how they feel. And I'm listening to everybody and I'm like, you guys feel exactly how I feel. You guys think exactly how I think. And we all come from a very similar place where we've been, kind of pushed down, and we've seen this way to pull ourselves up, and we're just ecstatic to share it with the world. And Alfred, by you being, what you're doing and with the Cardano Hotel and you doing those amazing interviews. And I remember when I had first opened my stake pool and you interviewed me, and I'm like this shy guy and I'm like shaking, what am I doing here? And I'm like, I'm doing something. And,
same here.
Yeah, I want to thank you because all of that exposure and all of that community and all that work that you've been doing has helped us all grow so much. So thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it too. And actually, if that's probably a good segue, could you tell us more about Cardano Hotel and how that got started and just share the what, how, and why about Cardano Hotel, please.
Right. So after we decided that it was a good idea to accept ADA, well, I mean that was done with, and then it was like, well, what else is there? Because it wasn't some sort of divine revelation that we thought, wow, Cardano, great project. All of that sort of came along, it was more like a journey, like the realization that this was actually like a really cool project to be part of, sort of grew like day by day, So we'd become the first business in the world to accept ADA, and then it was like, okay, well, what now? And then time passed, and the time of the staples arrived. And I sort of looked at it and thought, oh, well, that's kind of cool, but it's not really for me either, But then as time passed again, I thought to myself, well, damn it, I would like to do something else for Cardano. And there are staples, and also apparently you can make a bit of money with it. So 1 and 1 makes 2. So again, I got in touch with my friend in Brazil. He was also an expert. He's a great programmer and a hacker. And I went to him and I said, okay, what about the staple? Well, why don't we do one as well, And then it's kind of cool to be the first business in the world to accept ADA, but then we can also be the first brick and mortar business to actually have a stake pool. Mm-hmm. So I said, yep, I'll make one. So that's sort of we did that. And then it sort of went well in the beginning. With the stake pool, it was very simple because all you had to do basically was like exist, and then maybe you could toggle your commissioner slightly. But people, there weren't so many, so people would just choose you and you'll be fine. But then many other types of marketing would come along. And I thought to myself, well, what can I do? Because I'm a business guy, I also want to grow my business. And I saw there was people out there that were doing podcasts. And well, personally, this was probably the last thing that I can see myself doing ever, because it's not really my personality. But then again, what the hell, it's Cardano, so here we go, like next adventure. So I decided to do the podcast. Then from that, at some point, even with the podcast, the marketing was still sort of problematic because other people were coming up with like even more interesting concepts. So you go up and down, you have so many millions delegated to you. And then I thought, well, so what do I do now? What is like the next thing to get attention from the community to grow my stake pool? And I thought to myself, well, I might do like a Cardano challenge, and I might say, if you delegate to my stake pool, then I'll rename the hotel, and I'll call it the Cardano Hotel instead of Hotel Ginebra. Well, that really took off. That went great. Time passed again. Again the effect wore off at some point, and then after a while, I thought to myself, well, but why actually don't I really take the next step and go like full immersion in Cardano, and actually turn it into a Cardano Hotel? And we did. So now if you come to the hotel, there's a meeting room which is adorned with Cardano stuff all over the place. I have Charles hanging in the lobby, and we just did a meetup.
Great.
And we just did a meetup which is sponsored by the Cardano Foundation and by World Mobile. And here we are, and people are now coming off the street. Like literally people are staying in other hotels in Barcelona. They just come walk through the door and say, hey, this is the Cardano Hotel, and they want to make pictures. And so yeah, that's been a journey. So
that's amazing. That's amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah. And how long did it take, Alfred? Like, what's your time span of all this? Is this inside of the year that we saw all of this, or is this like a couple of years?
It's hard to estimate because obviously there was COVID in between. Right. Because we were closed for like a year and 4 months. So that sort of was removed from my memory. I'm not sure about dates anymore. But I think we get into the stake pools at the very end of the ITN of the testnet. Then we sort of kept it running, and then during COVID in a way was like a blessing in disguise for us. Because as Michael may find out one day, running an accommodation is very, very time consuming. It's something that you live with like all day long, 24 hours a day, every day of the year, you know, it's like non-stop. But in this case, we were able to switch off because of COVID and actually step back for a minute and think, hey, what are we doing? And is there anything else that we might do on this journey? Because now we like Cardano so much. So it gave us time to integrate all these activities, and I can't really tell you how long it took. I'm guessing maybe like a year and a half altogether.
Yeah.
So when people come into the lobby, are they people that already know about Cardano, or are they curious because are they coming in asking questions about Cardano? Like, are they able to like find out any information, or like are they able to purchase ADA like right in the lobby?
Yep.
Or
yeah, I mean, Cardano has very much become unavoidable now in our hotel. So, I mean, when you're at the reception, there's a big sign behind us that says Cardano Boutique Hotel Ginebra. And if they don't ask, then we'll make sure to tell them. So we say, welcome at the Cardano Hotel. And then a lot of them say, hey, I thought it was called Hotel Ginebra. And then we sort of take 2 minutes to tell them the story. Then there's also people that already know. We see some people, we found out that now people that know about Cardano, of the Cardano community, they actually make reservations. And sometimes they stay here and they don't even tell us. Like I was on Twitter the other day and I was having a conversation. And then one guy butted in from France and he said, hey, I'm staying there. So I'm like, oh, well, why didn't you come and say hello, you know? But then there's also other people that just come off the street and they stay in other hotels and they just want to come in and they just want to see the place and that it actually exists and it's true and, you know, and make a picture. And so, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So.
Now, as far as like your demographic, like your target audience, what would you say is like your bottom line? Like, what is your turnover as far as like who are the type of people that are staying at the hotel, like tax bracket wise?
Well, I mean, although in theory we're only like a one-star hotel, but we're situated on the central square of Barcelona, and there are only a few hotels that can say that. I mean, our competitors are like 3 and 4 star hotels. So it means that price-wise, we can compete with them, you know. And also we have some, if I can just make a bit of publicity for the hotel, we have rooms that have a view of the central square of Barcelona with like balconies. So we were really lucky to get our hands on it like 8 years ago. So we're sort of like in the 3-star price range bracket.
See, that's amazing. That's amazing. See, that's kind of where like my vision is I want to make travel affordable for everybody and to understand that vacation isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And I feel like you have translated that for anyone to come in and also not only provide that service, but also provide an education to other avenues in the world that there are other things than monetary physical money that you can deal with to do the things that you want to do. There's this whole other world that you open up to them. So thank you for that.
Well, I don't think we have to be thankful. It's just something that came along, you know. We sort of there was a path laid out before us and we decided to take it, you know. We decided to go on the journey. And now I'm sitting here talking to you guys, connecting from all over the world, you know, and that's amazing. So.
100%. Let me ask you this, Alfred. Let's say I came in off the street and I got so excited about Cardano and ADA and I learned about your stake pool. Is there a way like in your lobby that if somebody wanted to, they could purchase ADA and stake to your pool like right there, like a simple way to do it?
To tell you the truth, we haven't even thought of that. I mean, people can come in and they can pay with ADA at the reception. But it hasn't occurred to me to tell people how to purchase ADA because usually it's a slightly longer conversation, you know.
Right.
It might happen that people ask about Cardano and then they say, oh, okay, we're going to go out and then we'll come back later and then maybe we'll sit down like later in the evening, you know, and then we have like a half-an-hour chat in which we might tell them about wallets and this kind of stuff. So there's definitely an educational aspect, but it doesn't happen like right there and then, you know. It's more something that happens throughout their whole stay. I mean, even in every room of the hotel, there's also like a copy of the blog of IOHK when they interviewed us like years ago, in which it says like who we are and what the hotel is all about. And a lot of people, or not a lot of people, but quite a few people that stay in hotel, they'll read it, and then in the course of their stay, they'll come to reception, and they say, "So you the guy? Like you're the you know?" And then like, okay, so, and then we tell the story, you know, and then the whole story is told again. And, I mean, ideally, we should make like a video, you know. I'm actually thinking of doing it one day, to make like a video introduction to Cardano.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're interested, sit down, don't move for the next 2 hours and watch this, you know. And so we may do that one day. So.
That's a good idea. There's actually something else that one of our community members is working on. It's basically going to be like a Cardano ADA ATM, and you can. Right. It's like a point of sale unit that you can set up like right in your lobby, and then like if somebody wants to buy ADA, they can buy ADA and then stake directly to your pool. That might be like something you want to set up as well.
No, I think that's a very dangerous idea because I'll be buying ADA all the time myself. So.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, Steve. How's it going, Steve? I see you got your hand raised.
Hi. Alfred, I was wondering, have you thought about pre-selling stays in your hotel through NFT sales online?
Yep. As a matter of fact, to some extent, we're already doing it because unavoidably we also, I mean, now during Cardano, everything that comes along, we sort of go like, yep, you know, we'd also like to be part of that. So when people, what happens, it was also curious is that now we have a bit of status in the Cardano community. So actually people come to us, you know, for many propositions, including many artists. And some people actually said, hey, I can make NFTs for you. So we've already created some NFTs that give you like a 10% discount on your stay, and we sold them. You know, this like a normal NFT drop, and we sold maybe 50 or 60 of them. So there's some people in the world that one day we're expecting them to show up at the reception with an NFT on their phone, and say, okay, my room price, but I've got a 10% discount. So. Mm-hmm. And this is only the very beginning of it, because I mean, who knows what's next, you know?
Yeah, for real. There's so many opportunities with that.
Yep.
So next, I'd like to talk more about because I love this use case that you have. I mean, there's I don't know if there's any other like real world like brick and mortar businesses that are tied to a stake pool, but I think that this is something that we need to do a lot more of. So I'd like to talk about like the intersection of running the hotel business with your stake pool, and maybe you can just talk about what do you like about running your hotel, and then we can get into more some of like the stake pool operation side.
Right. Okay. Well, one very interesting aspect is that you know, you may sort of consider like, why did this happen to us? You know, I mean, anybody could have said, hey, let's accept ADA and become like the first business in the world to accept ADA, right? It so happened that it was us, like a little hotel in Barcelona. Then in the beginning of 2020, COVID came along. We had to close the hotel for a year and 4 months. We survived because of the stake pool, because over time there was like all these, you know, we had financial incentives from the government and the bank. It took them ages. But I mean, by then we'd built up the stake pool enough to create like a little bit of income. So had it not been for our stake pool, we would have gone bankrupt. So I mean, if that's not a great example of the integration of like a stake pool in your real business, by creating like another revenue stream, I don't know what is, you know.
It's amazing. What an amazing story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's almost like it was meant to be, you know. Like we gave something to Cardano, and then 2 years later, we gave it back. So we got it back, you know. Like the troops came and they salvaged the hotel. So.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, one of my questions was going to be how is like crypto acting as a solution for any of like the problems in the hotel business, and that's like that's like one of the biggest ones right there.
Yeah.
there's one other aspect, because there's one thing in particular which I do not like about what I do like about working in a hotel, because it was one of your other questions, is I like meeting people. It's very simple. I was never trained to become a hotel person. It just sort of happened to me. Like a long story, I got stuck in Italy and worked on a campsite, and it sort of evolved over time. And there was an evolution, and then at some point people made a proposition for me to join their hotel, and we had a company in Rome, and it's like a whole story. But what I don't like, so that's the part that I do like. I like meeting people, because, for example, one of the things that we do at our little hotel is when people come through the door, we don't throw the key at them. We don't say, here's your key and goodbye. We like to meet them. We say, hey, who are you and what are you doing here? Why are you in Barcelona? And a lot of people are maybe like a little bit taken aback, but then they realize it's actually, it's just somebody who's genuinely interested in who I am, not just in my money. So this is what we like about the tourist business. It gives you an opportunity to meet the most amazing people from all over the world, because usually you do it by traveling, but most of us cannot afford to be traveling all our lives. Mm-hmm. So then we have people coming to us with all their stories and all their experiences. So that's great. What I don't like about it is where it's gone over the years, because basically to get to fill your hotel, Michael, it's like you're pretty much dependent on all the big reservation portals, the likes of Booking.com and Expedia and Hotusa in Spain. And it's like a sword with a double, how do you say in English, with a double edge?
Yeah.
On the one hand,
double-edged sword. Yeah,
double-edged sword. On the one hand, they just fill up your hotel like this. On the other hand, you become so dependent on them to the point where they can actually tell you how to run your business. They'll tell you, no, you have to refund this person because she said so. Well, no, because if you don't, then we'll cut you off. Oh, well, thank you. So I'm sort of hoping that crypto is going to provide some solutions to go back to how things were before, to have more like a personal relationship with people.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe this is something that can be developed, with the use of smart contracts, NFTs, and all the things that are coming. We, when we were in Lisbon in 2018, when we met Charles and IOHK, was also somebody there of Emergo. We had that conversation with them then, it's like something we already put on them, because this is not something that we realized two days ago. This is like a 10-year-old lament that we have. But we were too early. They said, well, come back and talk to us in like 3 or 4 years. And now there's smart contracts, and now I'm sort of waiting to see where it's going to go. I just spoke to a company called, like name dropping it, they're called CubeCoin. And it's their intention to develop like a product and a coin which will be used to transform like the tourist industry. They have my blessing, because that's what I do not like about tourism and where it is right now. It's very, very centralized, the magic words that we all fight against in many, many different contexts. And tourism, in my view, desperately needs to be decentralized. So maybe that's why we're here, maybe that's the function of the Cardano Hotel, that it'll become like a playground and like a place where people can do experiments and see where we're going to take this together. This is sort of a journey.
Yeah. Totally. And doing all that without having, like you said, that overhang of these major corporations, where they basically, like an Expedia, where they do control the narrative as far as your renting experience and all that. Us actually taking control of our own business and having that outlet without relying on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's like actually really common if you think about it, almost in every arena where somebody is working for somebody. Like when you apply for a job, you have that interview process full of nepotism and judgment, and then then they evaluate your credentials and they rate whether or not it's good enough, and then when you get that job, they can hang it over your head if you're not working enough hours, or if you're not playing with the team. I mean, we're starting to see this happen more and more, and this arena, blockchain, being able to port directly into an autonomous environment and yield from that without anybody being able to hold anything over your head or control you or dictate what you can do. This is what life is about,
Exactly.
So breaking away from those types of, constraints are really what crypto is going to provide for a lot of people. And I'm excited that we're starting to see actual manifestations of this. Like, you being able to survive that COVID time because you had that stake pool, and others. I'm sure there are other stories where people who have erected stake pools survived a difficult time because of these types of things. I know I was one of them. So this is, it's an amazing time, and this is what we need to be sharing with everybody, what crypto can do. It's just truly fantastic.
Yeah, it's because like real life experiences.
Totally,
For a lot of people, it's still crypto, this magical word, sort of floating in the internet, and then there's all these negative connotations. Whereas basically, it's just like a bunch of really cool people coming together and looking for new solutions to do stuff. That's all it is.
That's all.
And I can totally relate to that being the chained down. I have worked for the government of the city of Chicago for 22 years, and there is so much red tape. I'm an inspector, and I handle the inspections for the northwest side of Chicago. I have a huge region, and my hands are tied. I can't do my job effectively because of that. And I know it's a little off topic, but it leads to what I want to do in the future. I want to be in charge where I don't have all this red tape to get the job done and to make everybody in the situation happy and get to my final end goal. And I know that feeling. I deal with it every day. So this community has opened up a door for me that I never in my life seen coming. I always looked at life, especially when it comes to business, as this traditional, this is how it's done. Growing up with parents who are business owners, like, this is how you do it. This is what you're going to do. Everything was so structured. And this knocks that, like, basically obliterates those walls and tells you anything is possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if I were to kind of summarize like the theme of like your story, it would be that crypto, not only did it like save you during hard times and offer that economic opportunity to you, it also enabled you to bring back like that humanization, that what you love about the hotel business, like the reason that you're doing it anyway.
Completely.
So,
I mean, we just hosted like a meetup for the Cardano Summit. And again, it's something that might have been on my mind for a long time, but it never happened. And it sort of helps you materialize all these things suddenly, because here we had like 40 people 2 days, 80 people total, maybe 90. And it was great. The energy was like magical. There was all these people interacting and sharing ideas and projects. And it was like far beyond what I would have expected, even so. And it's that sense of community, exactly, that I remember from tourism maybe 25 years ago, and that I feel has been lost along the way, a long time ago. So.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand like the evolution of how we got to where we are now with like using technology, but I think we've let the pendulum swing too far to like. I mean, if I want to complain because like I booked a hotel and then it didn't go through correctly. Like something got messed up, there's not even like anybody like on the other end that can even help anymore. Like you call, like I'll call like I've spent actually I literally just booked something last week, and I'm trying to get something changed, and I spent over an hour on hold waiting for somebody to come online, and then a lot of times they'll just send you to a website, and then that's a dead end, and you can't even get any resolution. And then, so like it's just this like, how do you deal like? So I actually called the hotel owner directly, and then she's like, "Oh, did you book on Expedia?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, I'm sorry, there's not much we can do." And I was like, "Okay, well, it says like it gave me the number to call you. So what am I supposed to do?" She's like, "Well, try calling their customer service again." I was like,
no,
"Okay."
It's actually designed for you not to be able to find anybody. That's
Exactly.
Exactly. We have basically dehumanized our travel experience with where computers are supposed to help us. It's actually in this situation, it's hindering us. Exactly, because hospitality is so important to what we do and what we love. It's in our. If you love hospitality, it's in your blood. And if you can't have that one-on-one interaction with somebody to problem solve and fix your guest issues, then it just leaves a bad taste in the mouth of the consumer, and you're left with a bad review. And then it adds to everything. And I think that's one thing that Cardano is going to do is put us forward and give us back that humanization of dealing with somebody one-on-one. Because I know when I call a place, I want to speak to somebody. I always automatically hit 0 or whatever, because take me to an agent, because I need to hear this. I don't want to talk to a computer at that point.
It's a perfect example of scaling issues within our current system. The corporations have scaled so large and they have such a large customer base, and they don't want to put funds in the front force to deal with those customers. And so what have they done? They've walled us off with automated computers that don't reach anybody. And it's just proof that that system is just not scaling appropriately, because we're losing that customer service ability. We're losing that one-on-one touch. And that is why the new products that we're producing, and that is why the things that we're introducing to people are going to pull them in, because they want exactly what you were saying, Michael. They want that one-on-one experience. I don't want to talk to a computer when I have an intimate or personal issue that I need to work out. I need a person. And and this is what we are going to be able to do with what we're making. And that's fantastic. Bringing people back together.
Yep.
Because travel is so personal too. I mean, when you think about it, you plan your travel based on something that you want to do and you want to enjoy with your friends and your family. And to have something as cold as a computerized system telling you, go back. Can you repeat or hear you? That you lose that connection, and it just makes things frustrating. Travel is supposed to be fun, and it's not anymore. It's not.
Yeah. It's a nickel and dime experience. Actually, when I flew to Wyoming, it was so funny. You know, you're looking for cheap, quick flights, and they're just, if you want this bag, it's $30. If it's a bag over 50 pounds, it's $60. And if you want, you know, the bigger seat, the seat with leg room, it's an extra $40. It's like, are you kidding me? What happened to just paying for your seat and everything's taken care of? Like they're nickel and diming us all the way through the process. And that's another thing that probably needs to stop. I don't know how that one would be implemented with blockchain, but I'm sure there's some solution out there.
Pretty soon, James, it's going to be, how much do you weigh? That's how much fuel costs. Like, you're having.
And you know, and that's what I was noticing. It's these corporations. They get these money grubbers up at the top, and they're like, "How can we make things more efficient?" And what efficient means to these corporate entities is, how do we cut costs so we get more profits? It's not about making things better for the consumer. It's about squeezing more money out of the consumer. Yeah. So you're right. Someday they're going to weigh us, and they're going to charge us based off of the fuel that we consume based off of our weight. I totally see that.
Yes.
It's like,
and not to mention, you know, yes, it's the monetary value, but what about the time that you put into these conversations and these actions you do? Sometimes it's not even about the monetary value. It's about the actual time that you're spending just to get through.
Oh yeah.
Like Ron said, he was like on the phone for an hour and 40 minutes. Like, who legitimately has 2 hours of extra time in their day to sit down and go through a complete computer system only to end up with nobody? Exactly. You know, and no solution.
I just went through this.
It's soul sucking.
Yeah, it is soul sucking. AT&T shut off one of my lines. I have 5 lines. I pay for the family lines. And they randomly just shut one off. And I spent 5 days, and I can't even count how many hours. And at the end of the whole thing, we found out it was their error. They made a mistake. I didn't have a phone working for 5 days. All the time I spent with the phone, all the aggravation trying to figure this thing out, they offered me $25 for my trouble.
Yeah.
And then my phone didn't even work for 2 or 3 days until they finally fixed the problem at the root. It's like, you know, it's customer service is dead. These arenas, they just don't care about us. In the old days, the inconvenience, their mistake, they would have credited me for the loss of time, the 5 days that I didn't have that lineup. They didn't even do that. They didn't do anything. They were like, here's $25 for your trouble. And I said, keep it. I said, keep it. I just need a new provider. I like, you guys just aren't what I want. I need something better. And so the first decentralized cell phone company that comes out, I am jumping on board. Jumping.
I'm with you.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Totally.
So somebody build it. Whoever watches this, somebody build it.
If airline tickets could just be NFTs, then you don't have to deal with the whole rebooking and getting insurance. If you can't make it, you could sell it.
Trade your NFTs
to somebody else.
Oh, we're going to be disrupting all
of
these industries.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Let the customers create their own internal economy, or, you know, customer-driven economy with the original sale, and then
For sure.
It's just with
And
identity being able to.
basically there where we be eliminating this whole middleman system that we don't need anymore. You know, the human condition doesn't allow biologically to deal with all of these steps. We are wired as human beings to go from point A to point B without any of the interruptions in between. Like, we need to get back to that as a community. And I think that that's what we're doing here. It's like we are taking control of the narrative and getting away from all of these corporate hangups and red tape. And it's wonderful.
Right.
That's why Cardano Hotel is such a great story right now for like something that we need to share with everybody. So like,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think
somebody else is going to hear this and go, hey, my brick and mortar business could do this as well. How can I get involved? And I think this is going to inspire a lot more people to do exactly what you're doing, Alfred.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, I would love. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada, so I'm full of hotels. I would love to go to the Bellagio and erect a stake pool for the Bellagio. I'm sure that would be something quite special. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, actually, I think it's a great idea for, you know, people in Africa. You know, it's just like a water could, you know, I mean, you know, funds weren't so tight for them. You know, it would be a pretty cool thing for them to set up, you know, that kind of facility, a hotel and a meeting space and a, you know, a place to do business and, you know, spread that word like that.
That's kind of what Ahmed is doing. He doesn't have a hotel, but he is using his stake pool to fund a meeting space so that like people that want to do software development could meet up there. But I mean, if he goes one step further, he could do something like that.
Yeah.
So just for the sake of time, I want to get back to our agenda and then move along with what else we have. So just to conclude on our discussion on real world business intersecting with stake pool operation, what would you say, Alfred, is your most profound discovery along your journey so far?
Regarding you mean regarding stake pool?
Yeah, like the journey of like building your stake pool and connecting it with your hotel business.
I guess my discovery would be that I was standing still for many years and the world's been moving along. You know, that we have become dinosaurs in what we do, and it's time to you know, to get with the program and to learn about all these new technologies and there's new ways of doing things. Basically, I never thought I'd see myself sitting here saying, "Hey, I'm the old guy in the room," but well, it happens, and I realized that you have to constantly renew yourself, and also in business, you know, you always have to look at what's coming. Our procedures were ancient. We've just sort of re-automated everything now and made everything streamlined, and I think that's also because of Cardano that we got in touch with it. It's like an eye opener, you know, like how we've been doing things like 25 years ago doesn't work anymore. So this has been like a major discovery, I would say.
Does it feel empowering to you to learn more about this is the most cutting edge technology that we have, one of the technology sectors?
Totally. I mean, it's a complete privilege because I'm not really. I mean, I'm here. I discovered Cardano for maybe whatever reason, you know, the value of ADA, blah blah blah. But I'm still here because I enjoyed the project and the whole mentality was behind. This is why we're all here. We don't have to keep repeating endlessly, you know, why isn't it like Cardano? It's because it's all these great people coming along, sharing knowledge and excitement and new ways of doing things. And that's great. I mean, why would that be great for anybody, you know? Not just for me, I imagine. If you have a little bit of curiosity as a human being and you become part of this journey, then you be a complete fool to, you know, to step off. So I want to see where this is going, you know?
100%.
It's definitely going somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Speaking of going places, can you tell us, Alfred, about more of the projects that you've been working on and some of the things that you're working towards? possibly coming up soon.
Okay. All right. So at some point after we accepted ADA, like a very obvious question to me was, what other business might be accepting ADA? And then the next question would be like, what other business would be doing something with Cardano? And at the time, there was no place where you could find any information about it. So we created a thing called Club Cardano, which is on a website called CardanoHubs.com. Cardano Hubs being a place where there's like more things happening for the Cardano related. But the Club Cardano is like a registry, like we used to have in the hotel world. You know, there used to be like a registry. If you wanted to know which hotels existed in certain city, you just go to registry and sort of go alphabetically. And that was missing, so that's on CardanoHubs.com. It's free. You can just join, and then you can just sign up. And then, for example, Michael, when he opens his new accommodation business and it's powered by Cardano, in whatever location will be, then I can go and find a geographic location and say, hey, Michael's there. Or if I'm in London,
Awesome.
I have some aid in my pocket and I'm dying to have a pizza. Like, where do I go? You know, how can I go and spend my aid on the pizza? So the idea is that if you're a Cardano build, like a business building on Cardano, or you accept ADA or whatever, you can just register your business for free. It's like an index. Then, of course, there's the podcast. We already talked about it. Initially, the idea with the podcast was like a community service, because it was just to give all the stakeholders a platform, because we only existed like in the virtual space, you know, like this Twitter name, whatever. And I thought it might be cool to actually meet the people behind the name. So this is why I met, James Cardano Mint, for example, and things like this, you know. It's like not just a name, it's like this really cool guy who lives in Las Vegas and who worked in the healthcare industry. And his whole life story, you know, it makes it, humanizes it again.
Mm-hmm.
And while doing that, I realized that there was quite a lot of artists in the Cardano community. This was before the explosion of the NFTs, you know, the digital image non-fungible tokens. So I made like a subsection of the Cardano Hotel podcast, which is called the Cardano Artist Corner. So I interviewed like a couple of people there. For example, I interviewed Bas van Galen, which is the really cool Dutch painter who lives in France. Excuse my voice again. Who made the portrait of Charles, and many other like fine art artists. I met Louis Rouchon. He is amazing. You can find him also, Google him. He's a guy who walked across the United States from one side to the other. It took him 2 years, and to help kids with AIDS. And he has this incredible painter, like all these amazing people that I'm meeting. You know, so this is the Cardano Hotel podcast. Then lately, as another side project, I have some guys that I work with. One is called Nazmul, and he's in Bangladesh. We met on Fiverr some time ago, like a year ago, 2 years ago, for a real job. And then the idea occurred to us that it might be cool to do something to create like a charity program. And this is called Thought for Food. Not very original, but anyway. And so this is every now and then we do like food drops in Bangladesh. A friend of his works for like an ONG, local ONG, and then we transfer money there, and he makes sure that it's like in our name, and well, we help a little bit, you know, like another little thing. And then of course there was NFTs, so we couldn't resist, because anything that comes along, we like to be part of it. So we've done a couple of NFTs, and now we're looking to do like a really cool project, because we want to develop an NFT project which is linked to the charity in Bangladesh. So we're still working it out. But I mean, the idea is that whatever NFTs we will sell will be created in Bangladesh and will be for a very reasonable price. So that anybody, like nobody would have any excuse not to buy one. Maybe like $10, you know. You buy an NFT of the people that might be receiving the food drops in Bangladesh. Those images might become NFTs. And then with the provenance, the revenue of the NFTs, we will then be able to make like larger food drops again. The takings, the revenues of the partially will be reinvested into like bigger food drops. Bigger food drops should create bigger photo opportunities, so we create more NFTs again.
Okay.
And then part of it is that one part of it, we want to create like a separate stake pool, So if it goes well, it depends on the community. If you put your weight behind it, if it grows, the idea is that it becomes like self-sustaining, because the more food drops you do, the more NFTs you make. The more NFTs you make, the more food drops you can do. And then to set up like a stake pool in which we donate part of the proceedings of the NFTs and all the, how do you call it? Again, the proceedings of the stake pool, provided that the stake pool comes to the point where it creates blocks, that will then also again go to people to the same charity in Bangladesh. So that's a project we're working on now, with, well, to be discarded, with our own NFT platform, which is also, I mean, we just do anything that comes along, basically. You know, it's just irresistible. So anyway, yeah, I think that's the last thing.
That's awesome. That's really awesome stuff.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I brought Michael on. He's a personal friend of mine, and I've been urging him to get in the Cardano community and others as well. But I thought it would be a great opportunity to, because he was actually sharing with me that he wants to one day own his own boutique hotel. That's his dream. That's his vision. And I was like, hey, there's already somebody in the Cardano community that's like living out your dream right now with building on the Cardano blockchain and offering services to people that delegate to his pool and stuff. So this would be a great opportunity for you to come on. So yeah, Michael, if you'd like to share kind of like your dream, your vision, what your thoughts are, what you'd like to bring to the Cardano ecosystem.
Awesome. Okay, well, like I said, my name is Michael Nardi. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Born and raised in the city here. And my whole life, since I was a little boy, I have been part of the hospitality community. I eat, sleep, and breathe hospitality. I just have this drive to take care of everyone and make sure everybody has a good experience. And ever since, like I said, I was a child, I've always wanted to own a hotel or a B&B or something along that vein. And as I got older, it kind of just developed into something much larger and more grand if I can execute it, which I am going to execute it, thanks to Cardano and all the amazing people that I have reached out to. I want to do a small boutique hotel that is self-sustaining. If we don't produce it on the property, it will be brought in from local farmers, local vendors. Nothing will be outsourced to big corporations. I have a plan to make it a one-stop shop. One thing that we lack in the continental US is a all-inclusive stay. And it's one of the things that's very important to me, to let people know that this is a one-stop shop. This is.
Uh-oh, we lost him at the one-stop shop. Michael, are you still there? Might be trying to connect again.
One stop too far.
Yeah, I know, right? You got off on the wrong stop, Mike. So, oh, that was Steve. Okay. See you,
Is that
Steve.
better?
Yeah, there we go. All right, you're back. I thought that was you messaging me. Okay. Michael's back. So you lost us at oh, you still there? You're on mute.
All right.
There we go.
Where did I leave off? Where did you lose me?
At your one-stop shop.
Oh, okay. So basically having this farm to table experience and having a hotel where hospitality is its key, where at any point during your stay, you will have everything that you need, and it will be completely funded and hosted in that manner. It's like a family. We will have everything that you would need on the property, a retreat center. This is a place that you will be able to come and get married. We'll have an equestrian center. We will have things where we connect with the local economy and the local businesses to bring them in and try to change this narrative where we can bring everybody in and become a self-sustaining community. It's something that is sorely needed in the world right now, especially when it comes to travel. What I've noticed in all the times that I've taken vacations is that it's so impersonal. I know that we've touched on it earlier, but when you go in, you just feel like a robot. You check in, you go to your room. This is not like that. This is a home experience. You're home away from home, a place that you get to come and enjoy everything that life has to offer and not break the bank either while doing it. I think that one of my mantras in life is vacations aren't a luxury, they're a necessity. And if more people had the accessibility to travel and enjoy the finer things in life, and you should have it. If you are a waitress and your husband is a construction worker and you have 4 kids, there's no reason why you shouldn't have a 5-star experience that a millionaire or somebody who is wealthy or a doctor can have. It should be available to everybody. And I feel like blending the community and seeing where you come from in different walks of life is a way to build and foster better relationships with everybody. And I feel like with this project, I can do that. Putting myself in a position to be like, hey, that's Michael Nardi. He has this amazing hotel and he takes care of his guests. And oh my God, we got to go there and we have to just be part of this. And we have everything that we need. We really don't even have to leave the property if we don't want to, but actually have it, but also do it healthy. We as a society rely so much on outsourcing, and we need to take a better look at how not to outsource. We should be able to come in and produce everything that we need within our experience, so we don't have to rely on a lot of that kind of thing. The carbon footprints of hotels is astronomical. If we can get control of that, I feel like the world will be better, and we'll just have a better overall experience as far as sustainability.
I couldn't agree with you more. And
Sorry.
Go ahead, Alfred. Go ahead.
I was just wondering if it would be self-sustainable in terms of like your own food production also. Is that the idea? Or?
Yes, everything will at one point, obviously we have to start somewhere. My target would be within the first 6 years of opening, my property will be completely self-sustainable. Its own water source, its own electric source, its own food source. Everything will be produced in-house. And if I have to, I'll only outsource to local companies and local farmers. You know, coming from the background of my parents owning restaurants, food consumption is a huge part of our lives. Not to mention that we're Italian and food is life for us. So I have learned that when you approach what you eat in a different way, you start to approach life in a different way. Food is so I'm trying to find the words. Food is such a source of your energy in your life and what you would do. And what you want to put into your body, you would want to put out into the world. So we should start there. It's a complete mind change with your experiences. And that's what I want to provide. That's where I'm at with my whole idea, is having people come out and have this experience of, wow, this is everything that I need, and I'm doing it healthily, but I'm also taking care of the environment. I'm also taking care of the next generation that's coming by having this footprint that is next to zero.
I love this, and we touched on a lot of stuff. The one thing I really love about connecting like what we're doing in the Cardano ecosystem to like the travel industry is because it offers people an experience, like exactly what you said, Michael, and in a way that like, because people are, when they're traveling, they're looking for, like, they want to relax, they want to have a good time, they want to enjoy life, and this is like a way to show people, like, hey, here's like a taste of like what you can have and at an affordable rate, and then like making everything like self-sustaining. Like it's going to give people that like glimpse into like what could be, and they're going to take that back with them and like and try to apply it to their own life and business. Go ahead, Alfred.
Yeah, I have a question regarding, is this not a concept that's already widely known in the US? Because, or not? Because in Italy, there's a thing that's called agriturismo, which agricultural tourism, you know, that's basically the concept with like zero carbon footprint and things like this. Is it not something that you already have in the States, or is it more like a European concept? Or perhaps
it's definitely a European concept thing. We have small communities that doing it. And actually, before this conversation started, me and Ron were talking about Detroit proper. The city itself a few years ago started this green initiative where they were taking these abandoned properties and they were turning them into micro farms and helping. What their goal is, by 2026, they will have the city itself will be self-sustaining, and they will not be outsourcing any food products from anywhere else. They will be able to sustain the entire city based on these micro farms that they have built. It's very, very interesting.
That's efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the definition of efficiency.
Yes, exactly. And it's a very new concept to America. You know, we have a lot of these Greenpeace and we have these companies who come in, oh, we need to adjust our carbon footprint, but it's done on such a small scale. And the problem that we have is that the federal government has stepped in and they're trying to regulate the regulations, and everything gets tied up. And my goal is to get away from that, to get away from all of the red tape that ties down us being in a healthier way of life and living and travel and everything, because it all falls into place together.
That's right. Yeah. So we're actually a little bit over time, but if we have if anybody has any closing thoughts or anything, any burning questions or anything, feel free. We can stick around just a little bit longer.
I just want to say thank you, Alfred, for being here and for doing what you're doing. You're really impacting the space and you're creating this attraction. And I just appreciate everything you're doing. You're definitely a huge pillar in the community. So thank you.
Totally.
I was about to open another can of worms with because I love brainstorming, of course, and I love thinking about, you know, sustainable ecosystems and that kind of relational kind of thing. So I'll put it out there. We don't have to. I know if everybody has to dash, but just I love hearing about all these ideas. Thank you also, Alfred, for everything that you do. I've been watching from the sidelines. We've never actually been on any kind of live call together or been able to introduce myself. I'm Fletcher from Carpool, and but definitely admire and tell people a lot about what you do as a stalwart example of what's possible. And this conversation, thinking about what these types of contracts allow for, because for myself, you know, I really love your philosophy, Michael. Vacation has not been something that I've done a lot for the reasons that you're well aware of, and kind of identified the various barriers that exist to different socioeconomic classes and various things like that. But with smart contracts, if I could go, this is just one of many thoughts that have been passing through my mind. But if there was a way to say, okay, I will collateralize my ADA or lock it up in a smart contract with you, saying that while I'm on property, I would like to work for you like 4 hours a day or something. So that there's sort of like, I'm saying, here's the money. If I don't actually follow through on my end, you have it. It's in a contract. But if I keep my end and I work sustainably on the farm, I help to cultivate and harvest and work in the gardens, work on the property in some way, I could extend my stay because it becomes more affordable for me. And you have I don't know, these are just all the types of ways of creating increased sustainability, right? And then if you have a stake pool, you have people who are staking, it's almost like timeshares. Like they, maybe there's some way to incentivize, they stake to the pool and they have some kind of increased access to reservations or stays or increased benefits or features, or like it's a beautiful, I constantly marvel at the sustainability of the system, valuing what we all have to give and how we can give and receive. It's just so incredible.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting observation, Fletcher, because I mean,
Yeah.
that's so, from my point of view, there's things are still a little bit scattered. There's like me with the hotel, and then there's Michael with his idea, and then there's the technology. And now is the time where we need people like you who sort of become like the glue between all these entities and realities, and start making things work between them. So I can't wait to see where it's going. I can only I hope I'll be part of this for a long time. But it's very inspiring. So thank you all very much for having me.
Thank you.
No,
Alfred.
thank you so much
Yes,
for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred. Yes, you have made it. You have inspired me so much. You have everything that I inspire to be. And I look forward to this journey and having your feedback. So thank you for everything.
Let's collaborate. Let's exchange addresses and information. Maybe you can come over and run the hotel for a while, and I'll go and live in your farm. And who knows,
That would be cool.
Definitely.
I
That
am
would be
definitely
cool.
visiting the Cardano Hotel, you guys. We need to plan a trip, and
I want to go to the Cardano Hotel.
John,
Michael,
Yes,
let's
me too.
go. James, Fletcher, Michael,
Yes.
let's make a trip out there.
We're
Let's do
definitely
it.
going to go visit you, buddy.
We're
I
coming.
promise that.
I'm definitely coming. I'm
Great.
definitely coming. I've been wanting to go to Spain.
Absolutely.
Hey, if anybody wants to reach out to you, what's the easiest way, Alfred?
Well, you can find me on Twitter. Twitter handle is @BigEasyDaddy2017. And there's also the website. Maybe by email is hotelcardano@gmail.com.
Okay.
And from personal reference, I've Twittered you many times on DM, and Alfred usually gets right back, so he's definitely reachable. Twitter's a good one.
Mhm.
And Michael, if anybody wants to reach out to you about your project that you're working on, what's a good way for them to reach out to you?
You could reach out to me at my email. It's my last name is N as in Nancy, A, R as in Ronald, D as in David, I, 1467@gmail.com. Or you can reach me on my Facebook page. The name of my company is called Bryn Mawr Quilts. It's my little side company. I produce quilts and bags, and that fuels my creativity. So yeah, you can find me at that. It's called Bryn Mawr Quilts. And that's how you can reach me.
And Bryn Mawr, that's going to be the name of the hotel when you open it, right?
Yes, it's called the Bryn Mawr. Yes,
Awesome.
for sure.
I like it.
Well, thank you everybody that came, and yeah, thank you again, Alfred, Michael.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it
all.
Very much.
Thank you for the invite.
Hey, guys.
Definitely.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
one.
See you all.
Hey,
Bye-bye.
Ryan, you want to hang for a sec, buddy?
Yeah. I'll hang. Let me end this live stream real quick. Shaboom.
Alfred, you're